Okay. So what's the first thing you notice here? No surprise, I guess, this being my channel, but there's no Games Workshop miniatures. It's not even any Warlord miniatures. There is, again, an entire world. Before you even get into 3D printing, forget about 3D printing for a second. There's a huge amount of very interesting, high-quality plastic and pewter miniatures made by literally hundreds of companies in the United States, in Britain, in Europe. They're fantastic. My guess is that a lot of tabletop gamers, even ones who are trying to break out of the Games Workshop ghetto, or the Warlord. I don't dislike Warlord games. I dislike Games Workshop. But no matter what you play, there's lots of options, even before you get into 3D printing. Actually, before we look at the miniatures, I want to show you something very, very interesting. That's this thing, this piece of 3D printed. Speaking of 3D printing, this piece of 3D printed plastic. And what is it? Well, it's something called Bladegrip, which is the design of Mr. Andrew Lonan. You can find out more about it at housecarl.com, and you can see exactly what it is. To get a better grip on 6-inch craft sticks, the tongue depressors, long popsicle sticks, which is a very common way of painting, especially smaller miniatures. These are probably 15 to 10 millimeter, right? And because you're painting a lot of them at once. You can. There's no reason you can't do it for 28s too. You're just going to fit fewer of them on there. And I got this for $20. So, the problem with holding on. Well, the problem with if you're holding on the base, you're like this. If you have like me and you start getting carpal tunnel symptoms, you can't do that for too long. Usually another thing that people do is they like magnetize a pill bottle, and that's pretty where you get by those GW things, but. This is very interesting, and I asked him, how are you supposed to hold it? He said, however you want, right? There's all these grips on it. This way, you can free up your fingers if you want. You can do this. He recommends, let me see if I can show the camera, rubbing it, putting it up against your chest like this. When you can jam it into your pec there, and that way, when you're working with the paintbrush for detail, you can look at it and it's not jiggling around. So, but yeah, you can buy these yourself online, I assume. I think they're more expensive there, and they might be even double the price, but very interesting. We'll have to try it out soon and see how it works. Because, spoiler alert, I got a lot of 15 millimeter minis, but like I said, you can use it for anything. These are also, these are 3D prints. But I like buying, there's this one guy there who mentioned ran an estate sale. And I don't know the gentleman's name who originally painted these up, but these are Dark Age hovels. But as I mentioned, he died obviously, and the family didn't know what to do with this. They gave him, so they've been being sold at cons for the last three cons. But for a moment, let's have a moment of silence actually, and pray for the repose of the soul of that gentleman, and the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So please, thank you for. It's important to pray for the dead, whether you know them or not. You're going to want someone to pray for you when you die. I hope that's not too morbid a thought, but people die. It's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to me. So, but there is a way to life eternal. But yeah, then thank you to that gentleman who painted, and these were very, very affordable. They're like, yeah, can I print these? Sure. Have I printed stuff like this before? Sure. gotta wait to print it, and then I gotta paint it. And usually I print a bunch of stuff. You know, my eyes get bigger than my stomach, as they say. You know, print a bunch of them, and then they sit unpainted for a long time. So for like 10 bucks a pop or less, these were very good to buy. And that same gentleman, he's a very good craftsman too, because he made this building, and this is that's not special board, that's just foam. That's foam, and he carved them by hand. He didn't even use a roller. You can't, because you can't get that deep incision on a roller. Very precision cuts on those windows. The granny grading looks so good. You know, the timber framed house looks great. Simple. I love that shingle roof. Oop. What do you think? Beautiful, lightweight. Put guys inside if you wanted to. This was also made by that same gentleman. So, thank you again. You know, that's the other reason that you should. We talked about this before, but you should welcome people to your hobbies. You know, you know what I mean. I don't mean anybody. You know, because there's people out there that are interested in destroying your hobbies. But I mean, introduce your kids to them. Introduce your neighbors, the neighbors' kids, your priest, your you know, your coworkers, stuff like that. They're not always not everybody's interested in the same things, but maybe you find someone who just doesn't know this kind of stuff even exists, or, you know, the model railroading, you know, any kind of hobby craft, anything at all. Because it's important to learn things and pass things on to other generations. So I really like that one. What else we got? These I bought for my son. Power Barbarians. They're 10 millimeter, and I'm even going to take them out because you can guess what they are. And they're because they're not painted. One day I'll paint them, or my son will paint them. These are the evil ones, and these are the heroic Power Barbarians. And they're, of course, like I said, they're 10 millimeter. You know, I'll take a couple out. Nope. Not going to focus on that, are you? Nope. Well, anyway, it's Battle Cat. This one comes with both Battle Cat and Cringer. I don't have any 10 millimeters Fisto. Yeah, so it's He-Man. It's He-Man and Skeletor. But my son and my daughter love them. Yeah, there's Triclops, Orko, Two Bads I see in here. Man-at-Arms, a bunch of... There's Ram Man. You can't hardly see them, especially against this backdrop. I'd have to do another shot on them, but thought he would like them. Very fun. He said I don't have any 10 millimeter miniatures, but you know, there's quite a lot in there for him to have these battles against each other. So that was a cool find. These are the kind of things you don't even know exist, right? What else we got? Let's look at the Monster Fight Club stuff. I've put out short videos on them before. We talked about their very cool trees. Well, this time I had deciduous trees last time. This time I got some pine trees. There should be one more thing on there, but these are the same as the deciduous trees. You start with just the branch, the trunk with the branches on, so you can have them denuded. You know, as if they're after a forest fire, an artillery shell went off, whatever you're doing. And you can stack them. You can make them as, there's a little. Let's see if I can. But anyway, there's a socket in there. Goes on, and then they stack like this. There should be 4 of them. I'm not sure where the other one is, but you can also take these off. It sits on the ground as like a very small tree, a sapling. A pile of leaves, whatever. So I got the verdant one, and I got, it's not a fall one actually, but, of course, because evergreens don't change color in the fall necessarily, but evergreens aren't always green. They may always have pine needles on them, but they do get brown, and sometimes, if a tree is dying, under certain light conditions. There's some trees that are just brown all the time, and they're perfectly fine. They're, you know, they're healthy trees, I guess. And so these look very good. You know, winter a lot. Sometimes trees will get like this, and or dry conditions. You know, as they go through cycles, their needles fall off. They just don't all fall off at once. But I like the color in that one. My friend got some of the other real gray ones for winter, but yeah, these are. You know, I have a lot of trees. I have a ton of trees, but you can't have too many trees. But I do like that you can take these off, you know, for play. So they look good on the table, and then if you need, there's troops underneath them. You know, you don't need to sit them there. I got these. These are like leaf piles or hedges. These are fall colored ones. We also have some winter and normal color ones, but these are a little expensive. They're like the standard is like $30, I guess, for this much for 4 of those and small ones. But you know, you could do a lot to them. They're a good scatter. They'll look good with my full car things, I think, which I showed in the other video. They'll go to the chicken coop and the outhouse and everything too. This was another one. This was $10 too. So this is, but the nice thing, one nice thing about these, like I have a lot of mountains and rocks and hills and stuff too. And this is like a rock pile, right? It's not a hill or anything, but because they're hollow and solid, easy storage. They just stack up, you know. So my friend got a bunch of other ones, and this one's unpainted, but they were cheaper to get them unpainted, and they're super easy to paint. Come on, I mean, you just spray, primer them. I guess you don't even have to primer. You can just wash them and then start dry brushing them. Then by wash, I mean wash with soap first. You know, scrub it off, scrub the mold release off so the paint will stick better. And you can dry brush it, then give it an ink wash, or you know, I would use an oil wash now because that stuff is magic. And then you build up the highlights, and but these a second one will connect to the other side, and you can make, you know, put bridges across. So it's cool. Before we go into these, I got they also Monster Fight Club makes cyberpunk minis. But by the way, like they're good quality minis, and I wanted to get some, but I did not like the appearance of them. It's not that they were sculpted badly; it's that I didn't like their designs. Like when I think cyberpunk, I think of the very, very, very attractive art in, you know, second edition Cyberpunk 2020, which, you know, to be honest, was done by like those European, I think specifically Italian erotic artists, right? But so when I think of cyberpunk babes, I want to see, you know, some street samurai babe that's mostly naked with leather, and you know, she may got, you know, some implants and the VR glasses, and you know, the sheath for her katana in the cleft of her butt. You know, I guess I'm just old fashioned, but they don't look like that now. They look like they look like modern women. That's all I have to say about that. So, but they're good quality minis. So, and you know, the guys in armor and stuff like that are pretty good. But anyway, this is for this could, you know, for any kind of modern thing. So got this for a little bit in discount too. So it has 2 floors. Decide whatever one you want. Long edge. You can see it's a very good print. It actually looks like it has some depth because of the bold strokes on it and the shading. It looks a lot better than a lot of printed buildings. But I think printed buildings look pretty good. But if you want to go the extra, so there's 2 long sides. Here's the other one. And there's 2 short sides, and they're different. You know, one's have loading doors as this, but here's the interesting thing. If you want, you can pop them out. You can have the doors open like this. You can also pop out all of the windows. I mean, you definitely can pop them out. They're perforated, but that one's in there pretty good. So if you wanted to, for instance, you could pop out these windows and put in, you know, little ledge to actually make the, you know, the windowsill there. make it stick out a bit. You could glue a couple strips on, paint them, dry brush, and make them pop out more. And actually, these whole doors are perforates. They can open these loading dock doors. These loading dock doors the same way. You can pop them out or have them slide back in. I think these you might want to cut, but they're tight enough you can wedge them back in. And then to hold them, like, you don't glue it. The nice thing about it is they give you this sprue of coins, Quoins, and these are like the ornamental decorative things on the side of a building. And they're clips, so you cut them out and clip them along the side. And this is great because this is a very like a large building. Look at the footprint on this thing. Does it make a mess here? It's quite substantial. If you think about it, it's going to be this big. Okay, it's pretty big. And you just say, well, where am I going to store it? Well, that's the nice thing. You just pull those, the clips off the side, put them in a bag, and then, so you can see, yeah, the vent just popped off, but it just goes back in too. And you can put ladders on it. So this is meant to be, playable. There's an interior and everything. This was $30. You could do worse. And it's good to experiment with different kinds of terrain, see what you like. There's paper buildings. You make your own 3D printed stuff. You can get like resin casted stuff, and all of it. You can get plastic model kits, and it's all good. You can mix it. There's no reason you can't mix them together, and they'll tend to look good. I mix my terrain all the time, but this was their large rectangle steel building, and they have various other designs. Check these out if you're doing any kind of modern gaming. This would also work. Could work to a certain extent with like World War II games. Maybe the roof stuff's a little bit modern, but certainly would work for superhero games. Certainly a cyberpunk game. Maybe if you were playing with that Crisis Protocol, things like that. So these again, these were also on sale. You got two of these are normally you'll see what they are. They're normally $30 a piece. You can get two for $45 at the con. And you would get the Snowy River and the verdant, the like summer spring one. So I'll just show you they're basically the same except for the weather, but I'll show you what they actually look like. And there's patterns on both sides, and they're flat. They stay flat. So you can start with, have your pick. There's a stone path beginning, and it's a lake on the other side. A little pond, or the mouth of a spring, maybe. It's pretty small, so, well, depending on the scale of the miniatures you're using it for. But it's usable with any kind of miniatures, right? So there's the river. There's the stone path. And you get this one starting piece, two small, somewhat curved pieces, and two long semi-straight pieces. They're nicely illustrated. They're pretty matte. They don't reflect. They may look like they're reflecting more on camera than they are on my actual eyesight, but yeah. So I might if I could find an HDMI cable, hook the camera up, I might do a live stream where I just play with the terrain a bit and set up a nice table for my imagination for the next game we play, and I will be using these. But these are cool. These actually aren't technically mine. I bought them for my friend for his birthday. But since he does all his gaming here, and he doesn't have room at his house for it, they end up staying here anyway. So I'm showing them to you. But yeah, so they lay flat. worth getting, I think. You may not want too many of them, but and look, you can never have. I have all kinds of different rivers. I have different all kinds of things like that, and you can use them all. There's no. You know what is nice about these? So I have the geohex rivers that look really good because they're actually, you've seen them before. You've seen them if you've seen my geohex video. They're like carved into here, so they're below ground, which looks fantastic. I have rubberized ones, which look very good too, and they're very, very flat. They're just barely above ground, but you got to paint them. They're good. But what's nice about these and the rubber ones, of course, you can make stiff ones MDF, is that say you have a hill here, you could have it coming down the hill. Right, I don't mean like a waterfall necessarily, but like a stream. If you have a gentle sloping hill, you can have them follow the contours of the land, like this, which I think makes some very interesting terrain. All right, what's next? Some more terrain stuff. Gamer's grass. I've been just doing alien stuff lately. You've seen Shako laser. You've seen some other ones. So these are the laser cut large plant leaves. This is alien fern. Get 38 of them. And then I got some blood moon, blood colored alien swamp tufts. What else we got? Finally got some monsters for Silver Bayonet. These Vrykolokas. This Greek vampires. They're Batman. Let's open them. Pretty large pewter pieces. They're the same pose. They're cool looking though. They're not quite the same, but they're very slightly different. But of course, they don't have to be used for just Silver Bayonet. They can use for any kind of horror or fantasy game. Frostgrave, stuff like that. I'm going to get a lot of use out. They actually could be High Martians, come to think of it. Oh no, they don't have. Oh good. I thought, oh no, these are anatomically correct like the Mark Copplestone Yetis. But they just have a strategically placed pubic hair. Which is better than the alternative, I guess. What else we got? I did order a bunch of stuff from Wargames Atlantic, and I got kind of PO'd because they didn't have everything I ordered from Wargames Atlantic there at full price, but other stuff, actually, it was nice. There's a lot of stuff that Wargames Atlantic didn't have in stock. They had here, and it was on discount. And these are normally $35. They were marked down to start for $25, and then I got like another 20% off them. So I got the Ura. These are kind of 10 minutes into the future kind of stuff. You can use them for like Aliens, Colonial Marines, the movie Starship Troopers. Oh. They said we weren't going to do an unboxing, but anyway, here's a sprue. So you get 24 of them. So I got these were $20. That's a steal for, again, these were on sale, okay, but $20 for 24, 28 millimeter. There's a heroic 28s, Does that help any? Let's tilt the camera down so it's not trying to focus on the stuff in the background. There you go. There's a better shot of it. What am I going to do with these? The same thing I'm going to do with most of the other Wargames Atlantic stuff is combine bits and pieces in different arms and heads and bodies to make different kinds of troop types. But these I'm also going to use in particular for XCOM troops for my... you guys know XCOM, right? XCOM UFO Defense. For my XCOM inspired game, which I'm working on called Encounter Force. But that was my phone, so I'm going to pause the video and check who called me. Well, that was a close break. It was my wife, but she wasn't calling me to ask to help change a diaper. So I was saying I'm working on this interesting to me fog of war centric game called Encounter Force, which is about soldiers and specialist types hunting aliens and supernatural monsters and stuff like that. So these will, if you play at Death Fields as Death Fields, it says, well, you can read about them online, but they're taken from an American colonial marine type force. They were abducted there. But anyway, as all Wargames Atlantic kits go, they have tons of head options, lots of different rifles. There's helmets with visors. There's boonie hats. There's uncovered heads. Lots of cool options. But yeah, $20 for this can beat it. Here are the Wargames Atlantic Einherjar, or the, you know, if you like Warhammer, they're the squats basically. So let's take a look at these two. These are 24 again. I paid like 20 bucks for them. So they got a couple of screws, I think. Yeah, so they get these sprues. You get 3 bodies on a sprue. Variety of different heads, different arms. I see a flamethrower. I see like some kind of plasma type gun, assault rifle, rotary barrel grenade launcher, machine pistols, axes, knives. These look cool. I have some of those. What do you call them? The Warriors of Valhalla take the field. I have some of those. What do you call them? The Age of Sigmar ones I bought years ago. That were kind of like squats before they came out with squats. Oh dear, the Caradron Overlords, and I use them. I use them both in fantasy and as part of a Stargrave crew. So these will be augmenting them, and you'll see these as mercenaries in the Shandao campaign, or maybe as part of the 80 Planet Alliance. What else we got? All right, on to the historical and real fantasy stuff. All right, here is. These are Medieval Archers by Conquest Games. I'm not familiar with Conquest Games. I've actually never heard of them before. But these are very nicely scaled. They're right in scale with, Frostgrave, with the other ones I'm going to show you with the Wargames Atlantic. They're, they're a heroic 28. They're not, they're satisfyingly chunky. They look good next to probably old world stuff. Anyway, here's what they look like. And it says on the back, read this to you while you take a look. They're all short bows and long bows. Quivers. It says this box of medieval archers can be used to represent a small but highly effective force of bow-armed warriors from the Viking Age to the early Crusades. Miniatures come armed with either a self-bow or the longer but far more effective longbow from the latter part of this period. So it gives a, again, what is this? 28 minis. This was a steal. This was marked down, I think, to 22 to start, and then an additional 20% off. So it was a steal. They look very good. They're multi-part, as you can see. But they'd be great if you're. So I play, quasi-historic. They could be historicals. The problem is I don't have anybody that really plays historicals. And these actually come with, I'll show you this. They come with square plastic bases. Not that I need them. I have plenty of MDF bases, but yeah, it's nice to get them. You've seen some of my fantasy miniatures before, so I'm working on. I'll be adding them to forces and to augment my halfling armies and my knights, my Bretonnians that I showed you. Speaking of knights, here, let's do these first. These Deus Vult minis. These are by Fireforge Games, which I believe is an Italian company. At least the guy who autographed this here, Fabio Spiezia. That sounds like an Italian name to me. They also have a line of fantasy minis. that's called, I think, Forgotten Worlds, but Deus Vult obviously is a Crusades era game. And they have Western Crusaders, they have, they call them Byzantine, we call them the Roman Empire. You know, Templars, Teutonic Knights, Scandinavians, you know, Frankish Crusaders, Mongols, Saracens, of course. So these are great. Now, each of these cavalry packs comes with their 12 miniatures, and they were marked down to $29, and then 20% off. So very, very affordable for 12 cavalry. It's hard to find unless you're printing them yourself. So that's what they look like. These are not cataphracts. They did have cataphracts, but I didn't get them because I thought the armor was too. The armor on the horse is a little bit lighter in these, and I like the cataphracts. They look cool, but you can't. I don't know. It was a bit too much in presentation. I like to be able to paint the armor different things other than armor, like the Western barding. So. So let's take a look at one of the sprues. By the way, I didn't get any Byzantine infantry. Why? Well, because I'm going to use those Wargames Atlantic late Roman legionaries with the Lorica Hamada armor. It's a banner. They got kite shields. Yeah, they're all multi-part, a bunch of different heads. But I probably won't be painting. I won't be doing them as like actual historicals because I don't have anybody to play historical games with. But if I paint them, so painting them in an imagination setting gives me two advantages. One, I can use them in fantasy games, and I'll get people who will play the exact same games, but only if they're fantasy. And people who are afraid of pure historicals. But also, I don't get crap from people online who know so much about, they wouldn't paint it that way. That's a fake color scheme. But you know what? Life is too short to copy historical color schemes for stuff like this because I want to make stuff that looks good to me, not necessarily follow slavishly history. But anyway, they do look cool. I don't even know if those are. Honestly, does anybody really know what the color schemes were for like back in the Crusades or earlier? I doubt it. Yeah. So anyway, all these cavalry same price. So I got the Byzantine Corsairs, got Western Knights, which would be an excellent proxy for Bretonians. I would get these, frankly, rather than, not just because I hate Games Workshop, but rather than the new Bretonians. Look at them, they look great. And you get 12 of them again. Now, I don't know how much these sell for normal, but I got them for a real good price. So check out Fireforge game. They have a whole game called Deus Vult, right? It has a rule. I actually even have never seen the rule book, but it's probably good. And I also got Teutonic Knights, which I guess as an Orthodox Christian I'm not supposed to like. That's okay. These are the ones that Alexander Nevsky famously defeated at Lake Pepys. And they look great too. I particularly wanted to get this one because that one's holding a cross. You could have them holding a cross eye on there. We got a double Morning Star. I don't know if they ever actually use them, but yeah, they look great. 12 of them. So I'm going to have at least 36 cavalry to paint, which is great. Very excited about that. Last one. I got these Templar infantry, also from Deus Vult. And they're dismounted knights basically, or I guess men at arms probably. You get 24 of these. Let's take a look at these. Quite a variety of different heads, mantlets, capes. Got some axes. You got a horn, broadswords, long swords. Yeah, very nice looking. They're going to go great. All right. Last, but hopefully not least, I actually got 2 rule books. Now, I never get rule books at the con. Why? Well, that's an ugly reflection there. I never get rule books at the con because I think they're too expensive. I have a limited tolerance for paying a lot of money for rules because I already have a lot of them, and I don't. You never know if you're going to like a set of rules until you've played the game a couple times, to be honest with you. And I see a lot of games there that are like. Anyway, this was recommended to me. This is Shako. This is Napoleonic Wargaming. It's good for 15. This is regimental level, so I didn't want to get something too large, right? Because I didn't want to do like 6mm or 10mm or something. I'm going to do 15s for a reason I'll show you a little bit later in another video. But this is the one game I paid full price for, but it was $35, so that's okay. Normally my limit's $30, but you know, a lot of them they were selling for at least $40, $48, $50, $55 for a rule book, and it's like, dude, I don't do that. I don't know about you. I don't care about hardcover everything. This one's nicely illustrated. It's nicely laid out. I haven't read it yet. You know, definitely there's lots of stuff about changing formation. There's skirmishers, lines and squares. A lot of stuff about different mobility over terrain. There's an artillery stick, which is nice. Reminds me of the what's that? That British. Oh goodness, what's it called? That British TV show from the late '70s, hosted by the guy from the cop from Wicker Man. Battleground. Yeah, but it's awesome. But they, you know, use those sticks. So I got this. I also got Chain of Command, which I've heard a lot about. I want to check out. And they're supposed to be a very good World War II rule set. This normally sells for like 47. It was already marked down to 32, and I got another 20% off. So the price was definitely right for this one. This one's also pretty well illustrated. You know, am I going to use this more in bolt action or not? I don't know, but it's you know, it's a platoon scale game. So like bolt action works a bit differently. I don't know. I haven't read it yet, but I don't know about adding in how I'll add in the Weird War Conflict 47 stuff, but I did get that, and that's the whole shebang, I think. So thanks for following with me, and I do recommend that you try and attend a con. You know, you may not want to pay the big money for staying in a hotel multiple nights, so maybe you can find one close to you, but check it out. Check one out. You might find some really good deals, as I did. You might find some cool terrain that's portable and ready painted, because if you can get stuff that's already painted, already assembled, saves you a lot of time and you can get to gaming. But yeah, so hope you enjoyed the video, and Attention Span Lab signing off. P.S. What's this? Oh yeah, the very best, most interesting thing I got at the con. First, oh, what's this? Oh my. Oh my. What is this, you say? Well, this is 44 pounds, and that's pounds as in the weight, not Great Britain pounds. 44 pounds of lead 15mm Napoleonics. Russians, Austrians, French, British, Bavarians, Brunswickers, Prussians. I don't even know everything that's in here. So we're going to have to do a separate unboxing video of this where I count all of them. My guess is there's probably 2,000 minis. Maybe more. Cannons, cavalry. Very exciting. So I paid $140 for them total. I probably could have paid less if I didn't buy the initial $40 worth. And then I went back on the last day and said, you know, what would I have to pay to get all of them? You know, and a lot of them are painted too. Let's take a quick look. Here's some Prussian dragoons. Now these are lead, so maybe they're not painted great, but they're for 15 millimeters painted well enough. This was by far the best steel I've ever gotten at a wargame convention, but more on that next time. Attention Span Lab signing off.